Hello, welcome back. Trigger warnings. Thanks for joining me. Subscribe. I like to share things. I don't know. There was something I watched earlier today that reminded me of an experience that I had that I guess in a way I feel like I should share. Not to like hop on the bandwagon, but kind of, and maybe it's a little late. I don't know. But anyway, enough of the rambling. I watched this video on BetterHelp, the counseling therapy platform that's been widely popular. And I don't know. I don't remember really having a lot of thoughts when it all started swirling. I'm a huge proponent of therapy. I'm a huge proponent of, talking and getting help and processing through hard things and whatever. And so in that regard, I think there's a part of me that was like, awesome. But then, I kind of watch a lot of YouTube videos, and so there's all these creators that are like pumping out and getting sponsored by BetterHelp, which seemed cool. But then I started hearing some of this like stuff that wasn't great, and I didn't do my own research. I'll be honest, I didn't dive deep into it or look into anything at all, but I just was hearing or seeing comments that people were making like, I can't believe that they're supporting BetterHelp, of just the stuff that they're doing. And if I'm honest, I still don't know most of what's happening. I guess maybe selling clients information and whatever. All that to say, like, I wouldn't on my own accord ever jump in and participate in something like that. But guess what? Turns out I did. So that's kind of why I wanted to share this. For those of you who are maybe in a space of wanting to find therapy or looking for something like that, can't really afford it, not really sure, what to do, whatever. And also those who are like Christians or believers wanting to maintain that or just be cautious of that. I just want to give you a warning about a company called Faithful Counseling or something, Faithful Therapy. I don't remember actually what it's called anymore. I heard about it through I guess it's a newsletter, like a newsletter that I get that's faith-based. And they do put sponsors in, and so they had sponsored this particular thing. So I looked into it. I was really struggling for a season a couple months ago, and was like, maybe I could use some extra support. I don't know. So I looked into it. I was hesitant, but I was like, you know what? I will give myself a month, which I know might sound kind of crazy, like only giving yourself a month to kind of feel it out. Like, it's hard to kind of connect with people, whatever. But that's what I told myself, that I would give myself a month. So I signed up. I did the whole, I can't think of the word right now, the intake form, I guess. And again, thought nothing of it. And there were a couple suspicious things, kind of like red flags for me once I started hopping into actually trying to connect with a therapist, that I didn't really like so much. But I was like, you know what? I gave myself a month. So the good thing is that I got a little bit of like financial aid, because, I wasn't working a whole ton, wasn't making a whole lot of money. So it dropped the price significantly for me, which I'm grateful for. But at the same time, it still felt more costly than it was worth. So I guess in a way, maybe that should have been my first red flag. I don't know. And then I got connected with a therapist, which seemed like it was a decent, turnover, I guess, especially because I gave myself this month time frame. And she seemed decent, and I was actually kind of excited about her. But then I got a message from her saying that she wasn't licensed in the state of California, so she couldn't be my therapist. So I had to go looking for one. And there didn't really feel like there was a whole lot of options, if I'm honest. I maybe had like 20, 25. And my personal perspective and just where I come from with my own pain, whatever, I wasn't fully comfortable having a male therapist. So that even limited it even more. And I stumbled on one lady that seemed like the best option of all of them, but I still wasn't thrilled with her. But I did it anyway because I'm doing this experiment and I gave myself a month. So I signed up, we connected. I don't remember all of the details. I do remember that the platform was, I thought it was kind of cool that like it was unlimited. You could text your therapist at any time. You could just do a text session if you wanted, a video, a call, whatever. And it was once a month, or once a week that I think that you could have a session, an hour session with your therapist. So I was trying to make that happen, right? To make the most of the month that I had carved out for myself, which seemed really difficult because the timing that was given on her schedule was really limited and it was really random hours. She was in a different time zone than I was. So even by the first session, I was like, I don't really know if this is going to work. So those were things that were a little like I said, kind of red flags. And again, there was a part of me that maybe was questioning, like, am I just being extra cautious? And maybe I was, but those were just things. I'm just sharing my observation, my story. So anyway, I remember I hopped in. I took a really early call. It wasn't a video chat because I never did one of those with her. But an early call, I think it was like 6 o'clock in the morning for me. And I was in bed because tired. But I did the whole thing and I can't remember if she was on time or not. She might have been. But I still got weird vibes the whole session. And there was at one point she'd asked me a question about something and I shared vulnerably. And it felt like she kind of deflected from that and started asking me questions about something else. And I kind of felt judged. I felt criticized and judged. And I know that that's a hot button for me anyways. So I didn't really think a ton of it, but looking back, yeah, I did feel that. And I just remember getting off of that call and already I was like, I don't really know if this is going to work for me. I don't know. But I wanted to be fair and I wanted to give it a shot. So I decided to schedule a second session. And again, there was very limited options and I didn't really know how I was going to make that work with my work schedule. Because I'm not in a place where I can just like sit at a desk and take an hour break or whatever. I work in a classroom. Like when I'm working. So it was really, really difficult to try and make that happen. And so the next session I scheduled with her, I scheduled a text session. And it kind of overlapped because that was the only one that was going to work for my schedule the following week. Otherwise, I was going to have to wait another week. And so I wasn't actually going to get the full sessions that I was paying for. So anyway, it was my bad. I was a little bit late. And I remember we finally hopped on and we communicated. And she didn't meet me. She didn't show up with what I needed at all. And I wasn't rude, but I told her, I was like, I'm not sharing this stuff because of this, but actually because I think I need this from you. And she was like, oh, well, we'll talk about it next session. If you can, let's schedule a phone call. Which after that, I was like, I don't really know. I'm not really into this. I don't think that this is going to help me. And I only have 2 sessions left. So anyway, that kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. And I do recall the first session too. I think because again, we were having a call, not a video call, but a call, and she was in her car. She was driving the whole time, I think. And she might have gotten home, I don't know, but she was very distracted, definitely doing other things, not just solely focused on the session with me. So anyway, where am I? Second session, scheduled the third session, but was really hesitant to do so and was just kind of over it at this point. Also, this platform has what they called seminars or webinars. They were in the process of changing the name as I was on it. I don't know. I actually really enjoyed those. And they have a bunch of people who just share for an hour. You can hop on for free. It's part of the membership. You can take as many as you want, whatever. There's a free replay, which was a little tricky to kind of maneuver through, but at the end of the day, it wasn't that hard. But I really enjoyed that aspect of it. But here's where I got the biggest red flag for me. So when I signed up for my first one, because I'm trying to get all I can out of this experience, I signed up for the first one, and I get an email reminder, and it says something about BetterHelp, and I'm like, I'm confused by that, because that's not the program that I signed up for. It's Faithful Counseling or whatever it is. So my hunch, and I again didn't do research on this, didn't look into it, my hunch was this must be BetterHelp, this must be a front. And so that didn't add to my desire to want to continue doing this process, along with, coupled with the experience that I was having with the counseling and all this other stuff. So fast forward, getting to trying to schedule my third session. I think I did, and again, same thing. There was very limited choices to make. So I had to I don't even remember what time I scheduled it or whatever. And I'll be honest, I actually canceled it before, I think the day of or the day before, just because I was like, this doesn't feel right for me. And the truth is, I'm actually glad I did, because it wouldn't have worked out for my schedule anyway. There was something that came up, and it would have crossed in to the session time itself. So at least I canceled it prior to then just last minute. So I only technically had 2 sessions, neither of which I was impressed by at all. And like I said, the only thing that I actually enjoyed were their little classes and webinars. And the last week or so before I canceled my membership, I just signed up for as many of those as I could. And that was my experience with BetterHelp. But I didn't think it was BetterHelp. So anyway, like I said, not trying to jump on the bandwagon at all, but that's just my experience with what happened. I wouldn't really recommend it, if I'm honest, even though I'm a huge proponent of therapy. So yeah, just thought I'd share that on my little piece of the internet. And again, if it's a benefit to somebody, then it was worth it, I guess. So I hope that is helpful to somebody, and I am grateful that you are listening and watching. Thank you for your time. And